Hello, I am Mr. Courage and you're listening to Talking in the Shadows. This is video hashtag 446. So in this video, I will be ranking the guest stars of the new Scooby movies. I'm ranking them based on how iconic they are, going from least iconic to most iconic. There are practically 19 guest stars of the new Scooby movies. I have made other ranking videos. I've made a playlist based on them, and I will link it in the description just in case you want to see them. But before we get into the video, make sure to like and subscribe. The best thing about this is free to do. So at the 19th spot, the least iconic guest star of the new Scooby-Doo movies is Tim Conway. Here's the thing though, if I have to Google a guest star, I don't think they're iconic as they seem. But for Tim Conway, even if I Googled him, I did not receive anything interesting information about him. I mean, he's just an actor. I don't think that's anything interesting. Maybe Tim Conway was iconic at the time, but he's not iconic now. In the show, he wasn't even interesting either. He was just a bumbling trainer for Shaggy and Scooby. On the 18th spot, I will place Sandy Duncan. Just like Tim Conway, Sandy Duncan is just an actress. Could you get more iconic than that? And again, I don't think the internet provided me any interesting information about her. Yet again, if she was iconic back then, she's not iconic now. But what makes her higher than Tim Conway is her role in the show. In the show, she was taking part in a performance for a movie. And while on set, she would dress up like Daphne, and she would also have a stunt double that looked like Daphne as well. While the chaos has been happening, the stunt double quitted, so Daphne took her place. This gave Daphne an important role, showing us that she's not just a cardboard personality. It also revealed that Scooby-Doo had a major crush on Sandy Duncan. At 17th spot, I would place Jonathan Winters. Just like Tim Conway and Sandy Duncan, I had to Google who Jonathan Winters was. What makes him higher than those two, again, is his role in the show. In the show, we have another character called Maud Frickett. She's an old lady with a tough personality. So from what I've researched, Jonathan Winters was a comedian who would disguise as Maud Frickett in real life. To me, that makes him a bit more interesting than the other entries. When I think of this, I think of other comedians who would play as an old lady as their comedy stunt. For example, we have Robbie Williams, who would play as Mrs. Doubtfire. And in the UK, we have Mrs. Brown. I don't know the actor who plays Mrs. Brown, but yeah, it's a man as well. I would place Phyllis Diller at 16th spot. She suffers the same problem as the other guest stars. Like you wouldn't know about her until you research about her. In the show, it revealed that she had many partners. While in the show, Phyllis Diller gets interaction with a medium. A medium is a person that can contact the dead. The fact that she believes in mediums makes her seem gullible. I would place Don Adams at 15th spot, finishing off with the last least iconic guest stars. In the show, he would work for a pest control company. He would end up exterminating every bug in the house. At 14th spot, I would place Sonny Bono and Cher. Just like the others before them, I didn't get any interesting information about them. What places them higher is probably because they are a couple. That probably makes them more iconic than the previous entries. In the show, Sonny and Cher were both interesting. While Sonny was a bit more laid-back character, Cher was kind of the opposite, a bit more of a straight man kind of character. So whenever Sonny would do something ridiculous, Cher would make sure to keep him in check. My main issue with Sonny and Cher is that they don't interact with the Scooby Gang as much. I would place Don Knotts at 13th spot. While I didn't know Don Knotts initially, he did make a good impression on me. When I researched about Don Knotts, he did interest me. Don Knotts was really a charming chap. He made everyone happy around him. Don Knotts at least made 2 appearances in the new Scooby-Doo movies, and in both appearances he was a lot of fun. Like in the first appearances, he would disguise as other characters. And in the second appearance, Don Knotts, Shaggy and Scooby would go on their own adventure. Don Knotts also has a unique appearance, as he has a similar eyes to Scooby-Doo. The fact that he made more than one appearance must mean that he's more iconic than the previous entries. At 12th spot, I would place the Harlem Globetrotters. The Harlem Globetrotters are a group of basketball players. I personally don't care about basketball, but just because I don't care about it doesn't mean it's not iconic. I do believe that sports teams are usually more iconic than the usual entries, especially if it's a team you support. I bet the Scooby-Doo really supported the Harlem Globetrotters. In the UK, even though I don't care about the Premier League, it's pretty iconic. We have teams like the Manchester United or Chelsea or Liverpool, so you can tell that like sports teams are usually iconic. In the show, the Harlem Globetrotters only have 6 members. They're not really that interesting individually. The only one that's I think is more interesting is the bald guy because he's like the most unique looking. They appear at least in 3 episodes, which adds to the point that they might be iconic. At 11th spot, I would place Cass Elliot. Cass Elliot was a musician and she also was a comedian. Knowing that she was a musician makes her much more iconic than the others. Usually a musician would be more iconic than an average celebrity like a sports person. In real life, Cass Elliot died 9 months after the Scooby-Doo movies. She was known to be insecure about her weight. From the research I've gathered, Cass Elliot died from choking on a burger. It's a shame though that the new Scooby-Doo movies, the main jokes is about her weight. To me, I think that's really insensitive that they did that. At 10th spot, I will place Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed was a country musician. Unlike Cass Elliot, who died early, Jerry Reed did live longer. This would mean that Jerry Reed would have more exposure to the public. Although I don't think country music is a popular music genre, but maybe Cass Elliot's death might be a reason why she might be higher. What do you guys think? Do you think Cass Elliot is more iconic, or do you think Jerry Reed is more iconic? At 9th spot, I would place Davy Jones. Just like Cass Elliot and Jerry Reed, Davy Jones is also a musician. Not only is he a musician, he's also a member of a band. Whether you like it or not, girl bands or boy bands are usually more iconic than regular musicians. Like in today's date, we have bands like BTS, One Direction, the Spice Girls, the Beatles, so we have plenty of bands that are usually more iconic. So I do believe Davy Jones deserved this to be high in this list. I, however, was confused with Davy Jones. My first thought when they were referring to Davy Jones, I was immediately thinking of the pirate villain, Davy Jones' Locker. Just bear in mind that I didn't know about Cass Elliot, Jerry Reed, or Davy Jones before making these videos. Maybe sharing a name with the pirate villain also bumps him up higher. I would place Dick Van Dyke at 8th spot. Now we're getting to the guest stars with names that I can recognize. I've heard about Dick Van Dyke even before watching Scooby-Doo. Even though I don't know much about him, I am aware that he is a legend. Right now, Dick Van Dyke is 98 years old. The fact that I don't know much about him is the reason why he is not higher. At 7th spot, I would place the Three Stooges. I can pretty much say that the Three Stooges are pretty much very iconic. Many shows have referenced the Three Stooges. The Three Stooges are famous for the slapstick comedy. There are three members of the Three Stooges. The one with the red hair is called Larry. He's more of a chilled out, relaxed one. The one with the bald head is Curly Joe. He's usually the flamboyant, loud one. And the one with the black hair is Moe. He's usually the stern or serious one. I think the Three Stooges make the two appearances in the new Scooby-Doo movies. At 6th spot is Laurel and Hardy. They're the famous comedy duo who started all of this. I mean, do I need to explain it? They're pretty much the most legendary comedians. Just in case you've been living under a rock, Larry is the more goofy one, and Hardy is the more serious one. Laurel and Hardy have inspired many comedians that came after it. Like in the UK, we have many comedians that are like comedy duo. For example, we have Dick and Dom. We also have Sam and Mark, and we also have the Chuckle Brothers. At 5th spot, I will place Genie. I don't care what anyone says, I think fictional characters are far more iconic than real life characters, especially cartoon fictional characters. I mean, you're in my channel where we talk about fictional characters and cartoons. So Genie is another Hanna-Barbera show, the same company that did Scooby-Doo. Genie has four main characters. We have Genie, who is the main genie, and Babu is the apprentice genie. Then there's also two human characters, Corey, who is the master of Genie, and Henry, who is his best friend. Honestly, I don't think I have gotten enough information about them online. I had to watch the show itself to get enough information. And I do think Genie is probably one of the weaker shows, because I don't think anyone knows who they are. The title of the show is probably terrible as well. It's called Genie, and I've discussed in my previous videos how simple titles aren't that great. I do believe Genie should have gotten a different title, so that you can able to search them online and have better information about them. Simple things like this would help a show be more successful. I do have issues with shows that name their title after the titular character. This isn't the only show either. There's a show called Velma. I think that's also a very terrible title for the show. At first spot, I will place the Speed Buggy. The Speed Buggy is one of Scooby-Doo knockoff series. Scooby-Doo has many knockoff series, like for example there's Goober. I would say the Speed Buggy is one of the more successful shows. The show has four main characters. The first one is Mark, who is basically dark-skinned Fred, who doesn't have much of a personality. Honestly, I did not find any interesting information about him in his wiki page. Then there's Debbie, who is basically the female of the group. She is usually more adventurous and brave. Then we have the main driver and mechanic, Tinker, who looks a bit like Shaggy but with ginger hair. And last but not least, we have obviously the Speed Buggy, who's basically the mascot of the show. And at third spot, I will place Josie and the Pussycats. Just like the Speed Buggy, Josie and the Pussycat is also a Scooby-Doo knockoff. But I will say this, Josie and the Pussycat is a bit more unique than the Speed Buggy. From what I researched, Josie and the Pussycat is based on a comic. The main characters are in a band. And I'm pretty sure there's like a live action that's based on this. In Josie and the Pussycats, there's 7 main characters. The first character is Josie. She has a red hair and blue outfit. She reminds me of a character like Bloom from Winx Club. She is a friendly protagonist. The second character is Melody, who has blonde hair and green outfit. She is the stereotypical dumb blonde of the group. I think Melody is my favorite. I think she's really funny. The third character is Valerie. She has dark skin and purple outfit. She seems to be the group genius as she knows a lot about engineering and knows how to fix things. The fourth character is Alexander Cabot. He looks similar to Shaggy and wears dark glasses. He is the group manager of the band. The fifth character is Alexandra Cabot. She is the sister of Alexander. She has black hair and red outfit. She presents herself as bratty and selfish. The sixth character is Alan. He has blonde hair and blue outfit. He looks similar to Fred. He is the love interest of Josie. And finally we have Sebastian the cat, who is the animal mascot. Sebastian seems to get her into mischief. At the second spot I will place the Addams Family. They are definition of iconic. I mean, who can forget their famous theme song? It's incredibly catchy. I love the clicking and the clapping. The more I learn about them, the more I'm interested about them. There are 9 members of the Addams Family. There's Gomez, there's Morticia, Wednesday, Pugsley, there's Lurch, Grandmama, Fester, Cousin It, and Thing. And each of the family members are really fun. And at first spot, it has to be Batman. I mean, is anyone surprised? I mean, who doesn't know Batman? Even if you don't like Batman, you still know who he is. I mean, I don't have to explain who Batman is to you. In the new Scooby movies, he made 2 appearances.